I should start. So play on this Mac. So yeah, so welcome to the first consultancy space for the MC 1819 applications. My name is Bouba, and I'll be facilitating the first consultancy space for CXY. If you're interested in other positions, you have the consultancy space for TM straight after, then FNL, digital marketing, that is going to be newly named like BXP, and then tomorrow you have OD, PD, CXP, and the final consultancy space for MCP Elect by the MCP Elect. More about job descriptions and all. So I told you today is going to be the first one about customer experience for youth, as I'm currently head of customer experience for youth. And a couple of disclaimers. Maybe listen to what I say more than what is on the slides, because there are more information that I'll be giving out loud than what is actually on the slides. Ask me questions and warn me when I don't see you. So maybe you can like mute your mic so that there's maybe you can mute your mic so that there is no like interference. And when you want to say something, just give me a heads up. But you will have time at the end to ask me questions either way. And all questions are allowed, apart from job description 1819, because you're going to have an entire space tomorrow to ask questions about the job description 1819 of my function if you really want to. Cool?
Cool, definitely.
Cool. So now you're going to mute your mic, huh?
Okay, let's do that.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, to walk through the agenda, the first part is maybe to give you a bit of history of what happened in ISEC France for the past 2 terms in terms of CXY. So the first thing to know is that before having CXY, the CXY structure is the first year that we're having it, so it's still a pilot. Last year we still had the split between OGX and marketing, and you'll be seeing it throughout the milestones that I'm trying to present for both marketing and OGX. Yeah. So last year, the 2 last terms of exchange performance and in terms of approvals, on the term 15-16, we were having like 340 approvals in OGV, 160 in OGT, and like 50 in OGE. Then in 16-17, we increased in terms of OGV, going up to 468 approvals so from the 1st of July 2016 to the 31st of July 2017 because of changes of terms. And then in terms of OGT, we started to decrease slowly. And in terms of OGE, we increased slightly by 8 approvals. And on the term 17-18, we're starting well, since we're already like at 117 approvals in OGV, 11 in OGE, and 31 in OGT. To give you maybe, like this is only numbers, but to give you examples and maybe explanations on behind these numbers, you need to go through the milestone of the last 2 terms. So first one is that in the term 15-16, as a lot of entities, we had something that was brought up by the Indian government about cross-checking all the opportunities in India. So starting from that, the Indian government decided to have every single opportunity for people that are going to India approved by ISEC. So even if someone was going to have an internship in India without ISEC, he needed to go through ISEC. And this is what we call the pre-match. So being matched or approved before finding the internship on the platform to go to India. And here is local, because at this moment of the project in France, we decided to have it on the local level and have all the local committees handling the India pre-matches, which brought money for local committees and which brought a couple of more exchanges, especially in OGT. And then we had as well the ENSAM project. So ENSAM is a school of arts in France that we signed a partnership with them 2 years ago. And that brought up a couple of approvals for OGV, mainly for people to go on volunteering opportunities abroad during summer. And then we moved to 16-17. So by the way, in 15-16, nothing much happened in terms of marketing, as like we were having a lot of synergy problems of synergy between OGX and marketing, so nothing much happened in marketing during the term 15-16. So then we move on to the term 16-17, and we have the first big change, which is the National India pre-match, meaning that we upscaled the partnership, we upscaled the pre-matches with India to the national level. The local committees were not allowed anymore to perform India pre-matches and were forced to upscale every single pre-match that they had to India to the national level, which increased revenues of the national office and increased the numbers of the OGT performance only for the national office, having an impact on the overall performance of OGT on the local level. A second part was the exchange standard education. As this milestone for the term 16-17, a big difference between the term 15-16 and term 16-17 was the understanding and the rise of awareness about the exchange standards and about the value delivery more general. So first part, of course, was standards and satisfaction on the term 16-17 that were moved to exchange standards. But on every single conference, every single touch point that the MC could have with OGX and both OGX and marketing people, exchange standards were topic of conversations. And the third part was the customer flow implementation. Of course, with ASEC International releasing and pushing for customer CX challenge and customer flow implementation throughout customer flow for youth implementation checklist, ASEC France was one of the entities that actually moved fast with having one bottleneck on the term 16-17 and was the implementation of lead spaces on the local level. Apart from that, every single criteria for ASEC France was fulfilled, lacking this part of the lead spaces for the EPs. And then we are arriving to the term 17-18, so the term that I'm head of customer experience for youth. The first big milestone is the change of the structure. So on the local level, we decided between the MC 16-17 and MC 17-18, we decided to have a shift in terms of structure, national structure and local structure, by not simply merging two functions, which were marketing and OGX, but by having a merge of competency, of skills within one function that would allow and enable a better customer journey for all the young people that are approaching ASEC to benefit from one of our different products. So at the moment, in terms of network trends, half of the commission is VP. We have the LCVP CXY, but we still have as well another half of the commission that decided not to move towards this CXY structure and decided to still keep OGX plus marketing LCVPs, which allows us as well to compare the performances between the two different local committees and the experiences of the exchange participants. So in terms of strategy and projects for the term 17-18, semester one was had a couple of key points that were important. So the first was the commission education, with a lot of education and tools that were provided to the VPs, to the VPs and to the members. During conferences, since we had already two national conferences, one only for EBs and the other one only for the entire commission. Like they were provided with a lot of tools that would support them throughout their experiences as members and as LCVPs. And then another big chunk of my first semester was the functional visit. As we decided as a team to have the MCVP CXY doing functional visits, visiting, meaning that this person would visit all the local committees that we have, spending one day with them, with the members, with the VPs, and doing operations. Only operations to boost winter peak. This was one of the challenges of the first semester that I will be mentioning on the next slide. The second part was the international relations. At first, we wanted to have a focus on the entity to entity, moving the number of entity to entity from 35 to 15 entity partners, which was still a lot, but it was a huge move between the term 16-17 and the term 17-18. And in terms of international relations was the partnership definition during IC, IC Colombia in July 2017, where I had the chance to have meetings with a lot of entities to make sure that I would review and I would evaluate who could be entity partners for ISEC in France. The strategy behind this definition of entity partners was based on a couple of pillars. The first one was on a market study that we ran in the month of June throughout the entire country that allowed us to gather nearly 3,000 answers, making sure that we would have as well the insight of the EPs, of the potential young people that were covering our country. Another point was as well the exchange performance that we had with other entities in the last term, in the term 16-17, and returning experiences as well. A third point, important point, was customer flow implementation. That was a push for the first semester. Of course, it is for the second semester as well, but was a huge push for the first semester, making sure that we could implement and we could be as fast as possible 100% customer flow implemented. At the moment, we are still at 20%, missing a couple of digital marketing parts that will be presented during the consultancy space tonight, about digital marketing. Last point was university relation management. As we had shifts and changes within the MC at the beginning of the term, especially in terms of JD, universities relation became part of my function, became part of my responsibilities, and I had to manage the education of local committee vice president for university relations, and manage university relations on the national level as well. Universities sales and relations on the national level. So with all of this, you see a lot of projects that needed to be more focused, and that is the reason why, by moving to the second semester, by going through replanning process, we decided to go and define 3 main pillars for the second semester that would allow us to reach our goal. So the first one was still about commission education, but with this time implementing team leaders, as we have a commission that is currently half of the entity is member VPTL only CXY, customer experience for youth. So we decided to have a better support for the team leaders to be inboarded with education, with tools as well through our national education cycle, in order to make sure that we have team leaders that will be within the strategy mindset and will be able to support local operations. Another point, major change was the split of the commission, CXY, with the support of NSTs, with the support of national support teams. We currently have the commission that is split based on the exchange performance envisioned for the second semester, and with having a more tailored support from the national office, me leading one group and 2 NSTs leading 2 other groups. And the third point to commission education is to ensure that all this education is ensured by a summer peak challenge that would show us and testify that the members and the entity is moving forward within education and is actually performing. Second point was international relations. Here, when we were mentioning at the first semester that we're focusing on entity to entity and having 15 entity partners, we decided to move and to have 3 entity partners, which are currently Brazil, Indonesia, and Turkey, making sure that we would actually foster all the exchanges, all the activities that we do around these entity partners, and actually having a mindset of entity partnership. This entity partnership mindset that we wanted to have is as well something that we're implementing currently with the education on the local level of LC to LC, which is a change of this semester, of this term as well, on the local level, being educated on how to do proper LC to LC partnerships. And the third one is the team structures, as we have team structures based on entity to entity, and we currently have team structures with team leaders focusing on the consideration for Brazil, team leaders focusing on consideration for Turkey, and team leaders focusing on consideration for Indonesia. And the last big chunk is the process time reduction. So here we have, in order to support process time reduction, we thought that our local office should focus on attraction and consideration and receive way more support on value delivery. So that is the reason I'm going to start by my last point and introducing the online value delivery tool that we're working on currently with the national office, and that will be released through the month of March, allowing the local committees to focus on attraction and consideration. Attraction education being supported with the marketing guidelines that were released by both MCVP Digital Marketing and MCVP CXY, so myself, in order to make sure that we would support the local committees to perform their actions, to perform their operations in terms of offline marketing and in terms of online marketing as well. And the last part, more on the legal part, but that was taking us some time, is the contract review in terms of the form and on the way we were handling the contracts. Since before this term, we were still having papers contract that were taking us way more time to have people moving from accepted to approved, and decided to focus on having a contract platform that allow us to have people signing up the contracts within the same day as they receive it. Cool. And then the last part. So in terms of achievement and challenges of customer experience for you so far within the term, three main achievements and three main challenges. The first one was the growth in focus product, as OGV is our focus product this term, and we don't have OGE and OGT. We're mainly running OGV. We managed to grow at the moment in terms of approvals. We had at this moment of the term last year, we were at 75 approvals, and at this moment of the term, we're at 117 approvals. So we're noticing a growth in the focus product. The second part is the EP tracking system. As on the local level, they received a lot of support from the national office, providing them with tools on how to do EP tracking and how to make sure that as LCVP, as team leaders, people could make effective decisions to make sure that the team would move forward, and what would be the actions that need to be taken in order to make people move into the conversion marketing funnel and moving throughout the customer flow. And the third point is the customer centricity push, as a couple of local committees decided to change their structures from OGX and marketing to customer experience for youth, understanding the purpose of the change of the structure and not thinking only of being a simple merge of two functions. Work that have been pushed as well by the entire member committee 1718 of ISEC in France, and making sure that every single person in this entity would understand what does customer centricity means and how can we make it happen. In another hand, challenges that were faced by myself and by the 4 CXY of this term. First one was the commission management, as the change of structure that was not forced made the commission be getting up to 32 LCVPs, while we have only 21 local committees. So having to be leading a team of 32 LCVPs is something that had been an issue in terms of personal development. That is not a focus of the MCVP, but as well of performance management and support that was provided. And that led us to this idea of splitting the commission between different groups based on exchange performance plans. The second challenge was the UR management, so university relation management. As here, the idea was UR was taking a lot of time from my job description, and was taking a lot of time from the local committee vice president of marketing or CXY in my commission. In pitching us to focus on the main thing and to focus on doing exchanges, as the return of investment on all these actions towards UR was not cost effective. A change to this was to upscale the UR responsibility to the LCP and include it within his PR role as local committee president of all local committees. And the third challenge was the international relations, because as I said as well earlier, focusing requires a lot of efforts, and moving from 30 to 15 to 3 entity partners is a bold move, and is a move as well that is supported by the local committees that are implementing team structures that are focusing on the entity partners that we're having at the moment, and that are willing to learn on how to do LC to LC on a local level in order to perform well. So Now you have the time to ask me questions. We still have 15 minutes for you people to ask me questions, and then I'll be able to provide you answers. So if you have any questions, you're up. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go, go,
Okay,
go.
so yeah, so that's is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Can I go?
Hello? Yeah, you
Yeah,
can go.
hello.
You can go.
Yeah, okay, sure. So for my question, first of all, I want to know what is the outcome of merging the portfolio? I mean, marketing and OJX. Because during your presentation, you just said that the last year there were OJ's portfolio aside and marketing portfolio aside. But why
Mm-hmm.
did you merge it this year, and what is the outcome so far?
Okay,
That's my that's my first. Yeah, can go on.
cool. So the reason why behind changing and moving the structure of OJX plus marketing to CXY, so customer experience for you, as I mentioned, is that in the term 15-16, we had issues with experiences at the end of the term. So all the VPs, OJX, and marketing 16-17 started their terms facing troubles and trying to solve a lot of issues, EP cases, and all, as the term 15-16 was a lot about doing exchanges, but not getting experiences, leadership experiences done. So
Mm-hmm.
16-17 was a first step towards this in terms of educating on value delivery, focusing on value delivery during the entire term. And the term 17-18 had to move as well with the global direction of having a mindset of complete and implementing the completed mindset. We decided to focus and to have one function, one person being the final responsible for the entire customer flow. So starting from attraction to brand advocacy.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, cool. My second one.
Mm-hmm.
What is the current percentage of customer flow implementation
Okay,
of iStack in France?
so currently the current percentage is at 20%. As
Mm-hmm.
we're lacking a couple of components, mainly
Okay.
digital one of online one, such as for instance the final intercom responsible. As I am personally responsible for intercom,
Mm-hmm.
um, but not answering all the messages that are on the platform. And as well, on the second point, that is about Facebook merge. That is going to be a
Mm-hmm.
point mentioned by the MCVP BXP tonight,
Okay.
as this is one of our struggles into being a fully 100% customer flow implemented entity.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So the third one,
Mm-hmm.
what was the key focus in terms of customer experience for you? What was the key focuses for this term? I mean,
Okay, so for the externals or for the members?
both.
Okay,
Both.
so for the externals,
Yeah.
we're talking about experiences that we're delivering to people, leadership experiences that we're delivering to people that we can measure by getting complete.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to educate the entire membership in having this mindset of all the actions that we do matters, and every single small action that we're taking towards our customers are going to make us grow as an organization, and are going to make us make a step forward towards becoming a youth leadership movement. So with that being said, on every single conference, the touch point, membership is taught about not only doing exchanges, not only getting approvals, but as well leading and supporting experiences for the exchange participants. That's something like a really small details, but we decided as well to change the name of the exchange participant managers by calling them experience managers, making sure that the mindset is about the experience that we deliver and not exchanges that we do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So overall, what's you just tell about the challenges you faced when educate try to manage the commission. But what are the three main challenge regarding the membership?
Regarding the membership is, so the first one I would say is commission is membership engagements.
Mm-hmm.
as like half of the entity. So we have an entity of 400 people, and half of it is under CXY commission. So that has been a first big struggle for the entity, is to engage these 200 people into getting all of them at least one approval.
Okay.
Another challenge was the education, because we started the term with having really low educated membership, since a lot of EBs, the pipeline, were people that were recruited maximum 3 months before being elected as LCVP. So that is another
Okay.
challenge that I was facing on the first part of my term, and that forces me still to do checkpoints on how to on getting on the processes. And the third one that I'm trying to think of about membership. Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe in terms of membership, then was, apart from the education, was mostly for the VPs, but was a lack of team management and the team standards implementation that has been a challenge for the first part of the term, and that we started lately to educate all the TLP program of CXY function with. So meaning that VPs and team leaders are educated with implementing team standards on a local level.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Cool. So my probably last question for now
Mm-hmm.
will be how the BS the customer experience for you support the recruitment campaign just to recruit members in the entity. How that this portfolio supports the recruitment campaign to recruit new members in ISEC and for
Okay.
exchanges.
So first, one key message that we've been passing on through the two recruitment phases of the
Mm-hmm.
term were that operations never stop. And that's not because we have recruitment, that we need to have the entire CXY function focusing on getting people within the LC. Because last term was one of the issues that we're having, and having front office people focusing on recruitment. So stopping operations for 3 months with recruitment prep, vacations, and then recruitment implementation and interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this change and this move into having the CXY people focusing on keep doing operations while people are focusing on recruitment, and support with recruitment activities such as standing and sitting at info stand, still doing clash outs during the recruitment phases.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So I think that's all for today. Can I join you later if I have another question, or it's not possible?
So my space is going to be closed in like 10 minutes maximum,
Mm-hmm.
5-10 minutes. So if you have any questions, maybe
Yeah.
it's my next slide. So if you have any questions, so first, thank you for attending this space and
Yeah.
for listening and for watching this video. If you have any questions, then just hit me up, send me an email on
Okay.
boubacar.ca@isec.net.
Okay.
As we have a national conference coming up next week, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
like really tight for me to organize calls. But if you send me an email with proper questions and clear questions, I can send you back an email and answering all the concerns and questions that you might have.
Okay, cool. So
Cool.
thank you, Bouba. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. So we join later. So thank you and have a nice day.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.